very stressful, very demanding, especially if they do long-term work. Secondly, many of them aren't performing the way they ought to perform because they're scared, they don't have the skills, they don't know how to misrepresent their identities. And thirdly, some of them are doing corrupt acts. So that was a major problem. And over the past 30 years, I've been working in those three domains. How do we reduce the corruption among police officers who are given these tools? In 2003, with Dr. Abu, I had the opportunity to present to NACC the first undercover training course. And of course here I continued this time around when I came here. We need legislation for it. Now you have legislation in NACC that allows the use of undercover techniques for gathering information that will lead to a prosecution, and techniques that will allow you to gather intelligence to further other investigations. It's taken a while for the judges and for the courts and the prosecutors to get used to this idea. They have a language that says, oh, this is agent provocateur, this is entrapment, unfair. Well, there's a long history in Canada, in America, and in Europe about how to control this. And what we are doing now is ensuring that as NACC is moving forward with new techniques, new law enforcement tools that we're presenting, that we also ensure that their behavior is contained within a certain set of norms and standards. What we were just talking about yesterday with my colleagues is that we cannot get hard statutory laws passed immediately to control the behavior, but we can get soft laws. And the soft law is an agreement among all undercover officers. Is that from now on, this is how we work, we don't do this, we don't violate human rights, and here's how we don't violate human rights. Given that context, and being able to take more risks and move forward with new undercover techniques, it will be in short order that the big fish will be identified. A matter of time, and matter of getting accustomed to these techniques. These techniques you just don't buy like that, you need experience with it. And getting the judges to learn to accept them. You start off with baby steps, and then before you know it, you're an Olympic runner.
You're saying that we cannot get the whale if we don't get the anchovies and the sardines. Okay, if we have a few minutes left, if I link that to the fight globally, this is now a global front. We have a lot of problems on the global front, climate change, and that goes beyond borders. We've been talking largely confined to countries, but if we look at it as a whole civilization fight, then we look at a crisis like subprime crisis, and the fact that people cannot take any more loans, are given more loans, and we took their loans, combine it with other loans, package it into a product, give it AAA ratings, and sell it in other parts of the world. And when it fell down, it brought down the real economy with it, and thousands of people around the world suffered. So that's the biggest corruption in the world.
Huge corruption. Huge corruption. And the story has not been fully told yet. And the companies that are largely responsible for having facilitated that have yet to be completely identified, and they will be punished. I mean, there are people who are saying, we can't let this go, and there are people who will be punished. And we're identifying the large brokerage firms who knew of this. But we need regulations to stop this from happening. In Canada, we did not have all of that. Why? Because our regulations, our compliance systems, we contain the liberties that imaginative people want to make more money, more money. So new regulations, I think, would be, and enforce those regulations would be important. If corruption cuts across all borders, it makes waves across all borders. Probably the best example here is the problem that we have with the trafficking in human beings and trafficking for labor exploitation and indented labor. We are working here in Malaysia with putting together teams, joint investigative teams that combine customs, immigration, road department, and police and NACC to work together on a team basis, on a case-by-case basis that target specific problems. These joint investigative teams are rare. You don't typically find them. But we have assurances from the highest levels of your government that there's a serious interest in putting these teams together, and then to cross borders, and then to work with other law enforcement organizations across other borders to deal with the problem of trafficking. So I spent 2 weeks here, and then my 2 weeks involved with meeting the police and the training in NACA. Very pleased to see the enthusiasm and the energy, and I look forward to coming back and continue this work.
I look forward, I'm sure the audience look forward to hearing from you again, because that's all the time we have. Great to know that you're very, very optimistic about the fight against corruption, not only here, also globally. We have to tap more into your world of knowledge and expertise. So thank you so much, Professor. Thank you so much.
Terima kasih.
Sama-sama, terima kasih pada Anda. Hantarkan pandangan Anda ke Astro Awani. Terus Google saja nama Profesor Michel Girodo, banyak bahan bacaan yang boleh dibaca di internet. Sekian, selamat malam. Terima kasih. Terima kasih.